Today we're going to reveal all the secrets of the spells in Squad Busters, courtesy of the RoyalAPI website. I'll have a link to their site down below in the description, and I reached out to the maker of this site, and I said, hey, you know what would be really cool to know? It'd be really cool to know the actual details of the effects on every spell in the game. How much damage do they actually do? How much healing do they provide, and more? And here we are a week or so later, and all this information's available on the site. So we're gonna review this together, and if you are interested in any of these spells, I'll have timestamps in the description, as I do in all my videos, so you can jump to whatever part you want. Now, the first thing here is really interesting. This is the drop rate of spells. So it looks like the cannon, as you probably have experienced, is the most common drop. I wonder if to some extent this has to do with the fact that, I don't know, people don't have all the spells unlocked, or more likely, the power level of some of these later spells is almost certainly higher. But we'll talk about that. The cannon, the most common, then the bomb at 21%, lightning at 14, log at 10, rage at 7, all the way down to shrink and furnace at 3%, the least common spells you'll see. I actually would say that shrink and furnace are probably two of the stronger spells in the game, so it would make sense they are less frequent. But let's review exactly what they do, and we'll start with the cannon. The cannon, as you've experienced, drops a cannon onto the map, and that cannon does 134 damage per second. So it actually does 154 damage and fires just slightly less frequently than once per second. It's got a range of 8 tiles and 3,500 hit points, which is about the same as one of the ghosts in Royal Haunt. It lasts a full minute, and when your cannon pops, in other words, expires, it does drop a bunch of coins on the ground, which is a nice little pickup. So if you are near an expiring cannon, you probably want to go and get that gold. From there, the bomb. You know the bomb. I know the bomb. Deploy time of 1.1 second. It only does 300 damage, but it is hitting everything within a 3-tile radius of where you drop it. So unlike other things, which we'll talk about in just a second actually, that have a limited number of targets, I believe you can hit as many things as you want to hit as long as they are in that radius. The damage is low compared to the next spell, lightning, and lightning will hit 3 foes with powerful jolts of damage. Teams, the players, typically freak out when they see this damage, by the way. They freak out. They run away. What does it do? When thrown, the lightning bottle breaks, dealing 1 hit point damage in the area, so very little damage. But after that, lightning will strike 3 times. Depending on your target, if it's an NPC or an unfused troop, you're gonna do 550 damage, but a fusion troop takes 3 times the damage. That is insane. So the lightning spell is really, really good at popping units in the end game of a match, because there's gonna be a lot more fused units and they are gonna take a ton of damage. The next spell we're gonna talk about is the log, and this will literally send a log rolling out in the direction you choose, and it does go pretty far. It's got a range of 9 tiles, which I would estimate is like definitely all the way across the screen from where you sent it. And the way you use a log is to push an enemy either away from you or to trap them in an extremely unfavorable position. The best way to use it is, in my estimation, to trap an enemy you're busting. But if someone is rolling up on you, a log is a great defensive maneuver as well. This does a pushback effect, as I was describing, and 200 damage, which is not much. Bomb also has a knockback sort of an effect, but the difference here is that this shoves everyone in the direction of your choosing, whereas the bomb knocks people back in sort of a away from wherever the bomb was centered. All right, from here, the rage spell, actually very powerful. I wonder how powerful though. So it makes you hit much harder, and I'm wondering like how much harder. Troops affected by rage deal 60% more bonus damage. Yeah, and this is why teams that fire up rage, you probably just want to run away from them. The rage spell doesn't have any targeting. It can be used as a sort of defensive measure where you basically try to deter someone from wanting to be around you. They're going to approach you. You're weaker than them. Pop the rage spell before they've committed to you. They might turn the other way. This lasts 10 seconds, which is pretty solid. And that brings us to the heal spell. Now, the heal spell is honestly one of my favorite spells, okay? And the reason is that for 8 seconds, it's just healing your squad. But how much is it healing your squad? Troops heal 48 per 0.4 seconds. Oh, so it's ticking pretty fast, and it's 114 heals per second. Over the whole duration, this happens 19 times, adding 912 hit points. Fusion troops, which have more hit points than normal troops, heal more as well. Ooh, so 168 heals per tick, or 3,192. I feel like this is one of my favorite, easiest to use spells, the heal spell, because not only can you deter someone from fighting you, but also you can just pop this when you're low in lieu of having a healer and get back into fighting shape. Which brings me to a spell I don't love. It's the freeze spell. Now the freeze spell drops down in an area and, as the name describes, it puts out a freeze effect. So it's got a radius of 3 tiles, just like a bomb, but it only lasts 3.2 seconds. But your movement speed and hit speed are reduced. The movement speed is a 40% reduction, and the hit multiplier is a 25% reduction. So this is, in some ways, a reverse rage spell, okay? But people don't recognize it as that, because I bet you 99% of people don't know that it does this hit speed multiplier reduction. They only notice the movement speed. That would be my guess. Maybe some have figured it out, but whatever. If you're getting value from this video, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. The furnace. Furnace deploys a heavy furnace that floods the area with fire spirits. And this is crazy. The fire spirits pop out of there very regularly. It has a ton of health. So 15,000 health on this thing. So more health than a mega. That's a lot. Like the high health megas, by the way. And it lasts for 30 seconds. And every second, in fact, faster than a second, 0.9 seconds. So 31 fire spirits are going to pop out of this thing. And it spawns 8 more when it expires. You do not want to be near a furnace when it expires. You will take a ton of damage. Although, it also drops coins when it expires, and you might want the coins. But just don't be clustered around the darn thing. Like, if you are on top of a furnace, you're going to take a lot of damage. Now, the fire spirits can be busted, I believe. They have 300 hit points, and when they pop, they do 80 damage, which is not much, but like 8 times 80 is a fair amount of damage if you are standing next to this thing when it's about to expire. Not good. Okay, not good. I like to use this as a deterrent for an area. I like to use this for map control, part of the map where I want to work down some tougher PvE objectives where enemies may be nearby. People see that the furnace is down, they often decide to go a different way. Which brings us to probably the strongest spell in the game. That is the shrink spell. The shrink spell is insane. I didn't understand what it was doing, so I like fought someone while I was in the shrink spell and I just lost. And I was like, why? What happened? So this is the same radius as a bomb, same radius as the freeze spell, but it's gonna last for 7.5 seconds, and it'll deal 1 damage when the spell breaks, landing, okay? But after that, you get a 0.1 damage multiplier, a 90% DPS reduction, and that is why you never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, take a fight in a shrink spell. It is why it is the strongest spell in the game. You throw a shrink spell on your enemy, or you even stand in it and force them to be in the shrink spell if they want to fight you. I don't know how they win. It's possible if they just overpower you by that much, but I don't know, man. Now, the next couple spells are troop specific, so you only gain these when you have the unit in your squad and have access to this unit, okay? You won't get this any other way than when, for example, you summon the unit. But you have to be able to summon them. Now, in this case, we're looking at a Pam. Pam will deploy a heal station and also gives you a heal station spell later on. This happens when you reach the super evolution. So the question is, what does the heal station do? The strength of the heal station does depend on whether or not you have a baby classic, super, or ultra. And it does look like actually the only major differentiator is between baby to classic and super to ultra, okay? So from baby to classic, it looks like you're getting a final heal, which is kind of nice. With the classic tier, you're getting that final heal. At the ultra tier, which very few people have, you're looking at 231 heals per second. The final heal is 1,000. Fusion heal is 286 heals per second. 817 heals per second, and 2,500 in the final heal. So this is a pretty hefty heal. I like the heal station, not as much as the heal spell, because that can go with you wherever you want. Whereas, like, you can't use this and then run away. You throw this down, stand in your heal station, and hope you win the fight. And often you will, quite frankly. So, yes, he points out classic adds a final heal, ultra, more heals per second, and a final heal is bigger. This brings us to the Royal Delivery from the Royal King, all right? Now, the Royal King, pretty mid unit overall, pretty cool to pick up in the early game because every time you open a chest, he's going to bring out a bunch of his knights to fight for you. But you move away from where that action is, and the knights just stand around and leave them behind, all right? So what this spell does is it gives you an elite recruit. And it also is kind of like a mini bomb. So it's doing 200 damage to a very small radius. That's 1.5 tiles, so very small. Half the radius of a bomb, which means much less total area that you're actually able to hit. But you need to treat it like a bomb. You can do damage. It does do a slight knockback effect, pushback of 75, and it summons the elite recruit. Now, the royal delivery spell deals a bit of damage, pushes enemy back, deploys the elite recruit, very good. The royal recruit is 2,700 health. The elite recruit is 3,600. So slightly more health, lasts 15 seconds longer, so 1/3 extra duration. And the damage is, more, but like still nothing insane. 71 per second is not nuts. At a 1.33 attack speed. Very cool. Which brings us to the witch spell. So she gives you a skeleton barrel. And by the way, I generally am not a huge fan of units that give you spells, because there's already enough spells on the map that often, like, bro, you should just be throwing your spells like crazy, okay? And they're only gonna add more of these units in the game that have spells, in my opinion, which means you're gonna like really want to be pushing off the spells you have, or you get a wizard so you can hold 2 spells, but whatever. What does this do? Skeleton barrel. It does damage when it lands, 30, so very little damage, almost not worth mentioning, but it is there. And 1.5 tile radius, same as the royal delivery. The pushback of 75 is very small, so a bomb-like effect with a pushback, but much smaller, and it summons 9 elite skeletons. They are slightly stronger than your normal skeletons. Their stats are here, but they are otherwise unremarkable. There's a couple ways you can use this spell. One is to throw it at your enemy and use it kind of like a taunt, making it so that those little skeletons get hit instead of you, and then you do a ton of damage to them before they're hitting your main units, which is very powerful. I often find myself just throwing this and picking up some other spell as I walk next to it, and I just want to put these near a PvE objective, have them work it down a little bit while I do something else, then I'll swing back around to where I put them and clean it up. That's often what I end up doing. They are fine, but in my estimation, not amazing. But now, at Ultra Tier, the Super Rage spell from the Barb King, I feel like is really nuts. What does it do? The Rage spell, which I said was nuts with a 60% damage boost for 10 seconds, pales in comparison to the 50% increased duration, so 15-second duration, 100% damage boost of the Barb King. Dang, son! Your boy Cheese needs to get to the Ultra for the Barb King. That's really, really powerful. I mean, 100% more damage. What are we talking about? You're winning that fight. You are winning that fight. GG. And the final spell, I believe, that we're going to be looking at here is the crossbow. So this is the Archer Queen, gives you a crossbow. Think of this kind of like a better version of the cannon, which, like, when I put it like that, it's actually not very exciting. But what does it do? When she reaches the Ultra Tier, you're going to get a crossbow spell. The crossbow shoots 3 arrows every single time. These arrows are slightly angled, so when enemies are far away, usually only one arrow is going to reach the target. You can see those right over here. They are kind of spreading, almost like shells will spread, okay? And as we scroll on down, we get the comparison with the cannon here, all nicely in one screen. So if everything is hitting from your crossbow, you are looking at a solid 269 DPS, but if only one thing is hitting, you're looking at only 90 DPS. The range is actually less than the cannon, which I find surprising, but it is firing as fast. So it's double the DPS with a smaller range. Very cool. But the Archer Queen can actually boost the building. Kind of neat. If they're in your squad range, giving it an extra 28% DPS. So your squad range, you can see on your screen, it's like the circle around your squad. Okay, so if you're standing around a cannon, Archer Queen apparently boosts that, which is kind of neat. Other boosts. We know about blue boots. These are the turbo boots. Very cool. And the golden boots. Huge shout out to the maker of the RoyalAPI website. I reached out to them a while ago and was chatting with them, and they've just been like super easy to talk to and super responsive. Like, I kind of can't believe I reached out. I was like, hey, spell info would be cool. And he was like, yes, spell info would be cool. And you can't just wave a magic wand and like get this information. They really obviously have to go dig it up and I assume look in the code base. So big shout out to the maker of the Royale API. Their website is linked up top here and of course in the description of the video. Their creator code is down below, as is mine. I hope that you'll enter one of our codes when you make your purchases in Squad Busters. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for a couple other videos that'll really level up your game in Squad Busters, check the cards in the end screen. I think you'll really like them.